My name is Diana Cano, and my co-workers are Laura Alarcón and Diana Suarez. And we are present to trust and credibility of citizens in Colombian public institutions. Introduction. In Colombian public institutions, army and police are those that maintain contact with criminals and people. So they are responsible for manage and plan those actions whose main objective is detention, interview and question criminals, trust in the way to dialogue and give feedback signs. In this way they contribute positively have more effective results in addition to increasing certain and speed of their actions. However, currently, the levels of insecurity and height highlighting this negative correlation between insecurity and trust, generating a relevant psychological impact. Methodology. The zinc instrumental type study with a qualitative approach population. Common citizens over 18 years of age who have had an experience with a public institutions. Same. 30 persons and instruments and survey carried out by the members of the group case credibility in public institutions.
Okay, about the result, it's important to mention that the 13 persons, 58.1% were women and 41.9% men. One of the questions was focused on know if the people who were solving the survive had been victims of the crime, in which 54.8% answered yes and 45.2% no. Then indicate that the crime there was being victims, thus showing that 18% were victims of the rob, and the other percent intrafamily abuse and forced displacement. Another important question for the analysis of the credibility of citizens in the public institution was which public institution they went to when a crime occurred, to which 14 people, 46.6% who went to the police responded. To 43.3% go to the prosecutor office, and 33% don't go to the any institutions for different reasons, but in general because they didn't trust the police and because they didn't feel protected by them. This question is linked to the question whose objective was direct that was asked in the survey was whether or not they trust public institutions, where 51% say no, 24% say yes, and 25% say that somethings and that they trusted the army more. The reasons for age of the participants was mostly because they considered that to be corrupt, and on the other hand, they argued that they didn't know feel confident due to the different codes about of authority by the police. It was important for the study to identify if the person who was solving the survive had had any experience with one of the public institutions to study and how that experience had been with these questions, we realized that 15% of the people have had a bad experience. 66% say that had a good experience and 33.4% were neutral. Apparently, they haven't had a close experience with any of institution and prefer not to answer the question. It was also asked about the salary of the uniform, since in the was intent to identify that the popularity thinks about this if they consider it appropriate or not, where 71% answered to no and 29% yes. They agreed and it was a fair. Then it was asked if they consider the way in which Colombia handles crime important, and 16% say that they did, giving as argument corruption, support of institutions, bad governments, and the helplessness that they live of the citizen. The other 14% say no. However, the arguments were the same. Now, finally, a survey was carried out to see if an ordinary citizen believes to there is complicity between public institutions of criminals. In this question, it was possible to identify that 93% consider that if there is complicity, the arguments among them were that the police allowed the symbols to the influence by money, that they had no sense of belonging because they have seen how they let the criminals flee. Many other speakers express that even to when they manage to corrupt the criminals, they do to make more than 24 brief hours of their freedom. And finally, it's important that to mention these people, participants of this was ranged in age from 20 to 52 years. However, 73% are in the range of 20 to 40 years age.
Okay, continuing the discussions, this research is very important and shows relevant results which are currently reflected in the everyday of Colombia. Based of the results, the question is answered: what is psychological impact of crimes in Colombia, and how is they related to trust in public institutions and protective agents, begin a negative impact?
Since the population expressed that no progress has been made because the transformation of the structure has been fading in terms of credibility in the police and army, there have been very serious errors and omissions which have had a significant impact on speaking. The phenomenon of corruption relates the indicator of legitimacy. As a result of this, it is indicate that a corrupt state is from achieving the fulfillment of its purpose, social and essential. By recapitulating what the what has been by side wield, it is not accepting that corruption effective usage cannot be exercised. Since this will become part of the landscape, this is in daily how they postpone a sentence. In the case of an appellate, the magistrate changes so that one doesn't achieve an immediate qualification. This being the idea that many users had about Houston in Colombia. And final, the conclusions, according to the credibility, background, and the response by the surveys participants, it is evident that indeed the people have a larger interest of the institutions than most ensures their rights and care of them because altruistic there are people who they truth and believe that very few really expect positive actions from the informant. The the psychological impact generated by the distrust of lack of or lack of truth of the people towards the institutions that are supposed to protect their is important. Will a people that doesn't believe that they are going to protect in losses find in the institutions and little by little of its with a country like Colombia with the type of culture that it has could generate a political imbalance and medium to long term power.
Okay, we are presenting the poster. Dejémoslo hasta ahí, marica, dejémoslo hasta ahí. Ya yo le agrego el de buenos días, buenas tardes y ya.
Dime.
Ya dejémoslo hasta ahí, marica. Yo agrego como un buenas tardes o algo así.